the session about Microsoft 365 Copilot and data security about it. So is it your data's best friend or the worst nightmare? Okay, so there is my slide deck. I was just asking if it was actually there. So as you can probably hear, my mother tongue is not English. I'm from the Netherlands. And to quickly introduce myself, I'm Justine Wolters. As I already told you, I'm living in the Netherlands, in the center of the Netherlands, in Utrecht. Maybe you know it, maybe not. I am a data security consultant at CloudLife. That's a Microsoft security partner. Next to that, I'm also a founder and co-owner of Tech Speakers. So I founded this company because I wanted more women on stage, on the tech stage, and I'm really grateful that I can also do my session over here, and I really encourage you to also find that stage. And it could be a complete other stage, but we actually should get more women on stage. So also another something I would like to prompt. I'm an ambassador of the Dutch Women in Tech. Really grateful to be part of that. We have several meetups in the Netherlands. So if you live in the Netherlands, check it out on a meetup. It's really nice to meet, chat, and learn from each other. And I love Denmark and Lego. And I love to discover Denmark with my camper van called Tommy. It's a T3. It's a Volkswagen camper van. You also see it back here. I have a print of it. And if you look on the other hand, there's also a calendar with all kind of camper vans. So I'm kind of in road tripping with our almost old-timer camper van. And you will see this camper van more in this session. So that's nice to know, but first things first, I would like to tell a little bit about what we are going to cover today, this hour. First of all, I would like to go through the Copilot ecosystem, also why data security is important. If you start with Copilot, data security is actually a thingy, so important to get started with data security. And after explaining why data security is important, I would like to present or hand over a step-by-step plan, show some demos. Of course, you always have some issues along the way. We are going to cover that and some takeaways in the end. But it's always really nice to start with a meme, and I give you a second to read it. I will keep my mouth shut because it's quite some text. And normally, if people start giggling a bit, then I know, okay, people read it. But now I cannot see you, and that you maybe are giggling about it or not. But it's really interesting that, of course, we have a lot of data. We can get a lot of insights out of it. But from my data security perspective, I'm asking myself, is it actually insights and output everyone should see? Or is there output that machine learning is giving us that is sensitive and shouldn't be available for you as a user of, for example, Copilot? So I love this meme, but I also look at it from my own perspective, being a data security consultant. So first, to get on the same page about Copilot, what are we talking about? Because there are, you of course have the Copilot license, maybe you are using it, maybe not, you're just using the free version, the Copilot chat. But I would like to show what the difference is, just to understand better of which Copilot I'm actually talking about. So I have this short demo. Over here, you see in the left corner that I'm signed in Edge, and you see my work account. So this is really good to know that if you see yourself, your picture or your initials, then you know, okay, I'm actually within my tenant. And if I go to the right, I see the Copilot logo. And if I open that, I see two toggle, so to say, the web toggle and also the work toggle. It says werk over here. That's Dutch for work. Also on the right, you see this green shield. And it says that it's the information is protected within your tenant. I have two toggles because I have the license. If you don't have the Copilot license, you only have the web toggle. Well, in here I just showed you, so you have the work toggle and the other toggle. And if you do not have the Copilot license, you only have that one toggle. If I go to a private browser, you see on the left that it's a guest user account. And now I don't have on the right the Copilot logo, and I can chat right away if I go to copilot.microsoft.com. In here, it starts again, but in here, you don't see that green shield. And if you do not have the green shield, you don't have the protection that your information stays within the tenant. So this is the Copilot chat. It's if you are using it yourself within the company, always make sure that you have on the left side, I would like to start it again, that you can see that you are within your tenant, so you are logged in, because then you know for sure, okay, the information that the prompts that I make and the information that gets out of it stays within your environment, your work environment. So that is a little bit about the background, and we're going to talk more about the license Copilot. So with the license, you also have access to documents within your Microsoft accounts and emails, and it gets information from there with its output. Maybe it becomes more clear if I show you the architecture around it. So in here, it's maybe a bit complex if you see it at once, but I will talk you through it. In here, you see the Copilot logo, and let me see if I can use a laser pointer. I hope you can see it. So we start over here, and we have a prompt we are making and putting into Copilot, and from there it will get information from the Microsoft Graph. So that is contacts from emails, from files, from meetings, chats. It could be anything. And you could also have information from the internet, so from Bing, for example, or you can activate plugins. If it's got all the information based on your prompt, then it will report back, and it will make a response, an LLM response, so actually understandable outputs. And also good to know is that there's also always responsible AI that will go on it. So just to make sure that you don't get discrimination in your outputs or sexual harassment, for example. So that is filtered out by Copilot. What is interesting is this part. Compliance and purview, that is within the information getting from the Microsoft Graph when it gets back to Copilot. So purview is where you can set up all your data security. And I always say a little bit like, okay, purview is the sneaky eyes that is always watching, okay, is Justine allowed to see this information, or is it sensitive, and is it labeled as sensitive, and Justine doesn't have any rights to it? Then block, you cannot get this output from me because you are not allowed to see that content. So purview is always looking at, okay, what is the prompt, and can this user actually get the outputs about this content, or isn't he or she allowed to get the content? Okay, so How can we make the workplace a Copilot secure? So there are different elements. You have to focus on identity and access. Microsoft 365 Copilots make sure that there's app protection, devices should be onboarded, there's threat protection. But we are focusing now on organization of data, because if we would cover everything, that's too much. So I can imagine that we can have several sessions about all the different aspects, but first start at the organization data. And that's all about data security. But what are actually the drivers to start with data security? Well, I've been talking to many people, and I always hear that protecting the crown jewels, so the confidential information, is really important for companies. This is, for example, information that gives a company a competitive advantage, or is about intellectual property, source code, etc. And it's really important for organizations to protect the crown jewels, so it cannot, for example, be shared with people outside the company for by incidents. So that is one of the drivers to start with data security. You would say that people within IT are really focused on it, but there are actually data leakages also for companies that are really focused on their intellectual property. For example, within Samsung, there was this example that there were developers, and these developers put their code, the source code, in ChatGPT, and because there was something off with the code, so they wanted to ask ChatGPT to fix the code. And this is already an exposure of the data, which you could say with each other. We don't want our sensitive information like a source code within a ChatGPT. We want to keep it within our own tenant, within our own environment. So it is actually happening that we have accidental leakages. And this is one example, but there are many examples where it actually goes wrong, and you want those data security measures to help prevent you for happening this, because most often employees are not don't want to share on purpose. It happens accidentally that they overshare information. So the second driver is laws and regulations. It's not really a sexy thing, but it's just something we have to deal with. There are so many laws and regulations, for example, that you cannot share social service numbers. You have to protect that. That's, for example, the GDPR is a really important regulation that forces you to start with data security to prevent unintentional sharing. And last but not least, one of the drivers could be that companies want to implement LLMs like Copilot. And what I think about this driver is that it's unique compared to the other two, because mostly Copilot is something that is initiated by the business. So it's not something from the outer world that is asking from the organization, okay, you have to deal with the laws or regulations. No, it is mostly employees that are asking the IT department, please, can we have a license for Copilot, for example. So there's this internal motivation to start with data security, because if you want to start with a Copilot, you have to make sure that your basic configuration is good enough. So it feels different compared to the other two. It's from within the company instead of that it's from the outside. So many organizations think data security is really complex, and it could be if you think about it, because information is everywhere. It's not like 10 years ago or 15 years ago that you go to the office and you have your computer over there, you log in, and at the end of the day you log out and the The information is still on the computer. We nowadays have our laptops, we have our mobile phones. There's so many locations where information is. We have our emails and messages, the shared storage, cloud apps, and so on. So the information is everywhere, and that makes it difficult to keep a grip on it. So you really have to focus on, okay, how can we get back that grip so we know where the information flows and how we can protect it. So now you are maybe asking, okay, I'm listening to a story about data security, but this was also about AI, right? Yes, it is also about AI, because AI is makes it quicker to get more data, but it also happens much quicker that you have data leakage, for example. So I have 3 scenarios over here that show how it can go wrong. And of course, it doesn't go wrong every minute of the day, but these are actually scenarios that happen. So keep that in mind. So the first scenario is a user creates a document without proper access controls, and it makes it really easy for other users to reference it in Copilot. And in that case, we have data overexposure by a negligent insider. So, for example, we have a document that is shared to anyone with the anyone link. So everyone that has ever had that link can access that document. Even when there's sensitive information about it, you can make a prompt about it and it pops up, even though that it could be sensitive. So in the second scenario, we have a data leak by someone that doesn't have really good intentions. So a user asks generative AI to find information on a secret project and leaks it to the press for personal gain. And it could be, for example, that you overhear someone, a manager, and you just ask Copilot, okay, do I know more about this project? Just to make clear, if you can do this, you can also, it was also possible already in the past. You could go into SharePoint, to the search box, and if you are really like a pro in searching on SharePoint, you would have found this information already. But with Copilot, it's much easier to do the prompting right and to do the malicious stuff inside your company. So it makes it easier to get the information. And that is really an issue, because in the past, it was really difficult to find the information. You really had to know a little bit about where do I have to search for this information. And now you can just like have one sentence and it can pop up already. So the last scenario is an insider that is not not that sharp on sensitive information and where to put it into and where not. For example, in this one, the user negligently shares sensitive data in consumer generative AI apps. So, for example, someone that just wants to make a summary of client data, puts it in ChatGPT, and there you have it. Client data in ChatGPT, which you might not want to, if you want to keep that information only inside your tenant. So there are many scenarios, and not every scenario could be relevant for you. But keep in mind that Copilot or other LLMs are really like quickly making more information and new documents. So, okay, people, let's hand in the Copilot licenses, right? So many risks. We don't want all of that. Or not. Well, I do believe that it is possible to have control over your sensitive information, and it is possible if you implement data security measures. And actually, productivity meets and needs data security. It's really like helping each other. So I wanted to share an example with you how it can reinforce one another. I will share my Word document over here. And 1 minute. This is the other demo. but I want to show it live to you and not a video. So over here you see my screen, and I have the license, so I can ask Copilot something. It says in Dutch, but I will do it in English. The prompt is, I would like to go to Denmark with my camper van Tommy, the name of my camper van. Would you like to set up a 40-day trip for me? And I will reference to another document, which it says secret route through Denmark. So I want this document, the new document that is, which is referencing through to this old document, so to say, which is already within my environment. Before I click on send, I want to show you that this is a new document, and I know it's really small, but let me see. I want to have I cannot show my laser point, but you see a document 1 Word, and it says no label. Over here it says again no label, and already when you see geheime, which is secret, you see another shield over here. And now the magic happens. When I say generate, so based on the old file, which already has that little shield, I see that this new document that is referencing to the old document gets a label. And this label says secret. So if you reference to secret information, so to say, then the new document also gets the label with the actions behind it. So for example, I configured that I cannot share this information with external people, and people cannot download the information. So those measures around on the back end of the label will be placed on this new document. And a fun fact, normally automatically labeling is, when we're talking about licenses, is a E5, a part of E5 license. But in this case, it's within your Copilot license. So this automatic labeling, inheritance, it is actually, is within your Copilot license, and it's not part of the E5 automatic labeling. So it goes hand in hand if you have data security in place and if you want to be productive with Copilot. So let's continue. We go on a road trip, a step-by-step plan to get that data security in place. And if you have questions during our trip, please make use of the comment section. And at the end of the presentation of the session, we still have some time to do some questions, and you can also reach out to me. But let's go on this road trip together. So step 1 is a really important one, and I see many companies that are actually that are not taking this first step. So when I am traveling with my camper van, I don't do that without preparation, right? I do my research beforehand. What do I want to pack? What would I like to see and to visit? And it's really important that I also have documents like my passport with me, the keys of the camper van, official documents, and I have to keep them safe, right? I cannot be easy with it and show everyone where I keep it so anyone else can get my keys or anyone else can get my passport and go on the road trip. So that is, I think, for everyone clear that it is sensitive and personal, and I should keep it to myself, right? My keys, my passport, etc. What I also want to keep for myself is the routes I'm going to do, because I want to make sure that there are not that many tourists on my spots where I want to go. If I would share it beforehand on the internet, maybe anyone else would think, "Ooh, those are really nice spots to be in Denmark. We will visit that as well." Well, I would really like to have that spot on my own when I'm on my trip. So that is less obvious that is confidential information, right? That is something that is confidential for me, but it could be different for someone else. Someone else would say, oh, the route that I am taking is not really a confidential thing. Everyone can know. So this is my personal story with my camper van, but if you look at organizations, every organization has information that is sensitive. For example, SSN numbers or passport numbers. That is sensitive information. You already know that you should safeguard it. But there's also information within an organization that might not be really clear beforehand. So you really have to understand within your organization, okay, what is sensitive information, and ask other departments what is sensitive information for them, because I cannot say as the IT department what is sensitive, for example, for the management team in an asset management department. So you really have to understand well what your crown jewels are, what your sensitive information is, before you can go into the next steps where you actually are safeguarding them. So really make sure you spend enough time on understanding what is the sensitive information in my own company. And it could take some time before you understand and know the data, but take time. So conduct interviews, make sure that you actually understand. And that means engaging with stakeholders. So, for example, the legal department, the legal officer or the compliance officer, the risk manager, HR. These are really important departments. But the one we most often forget is the business. People that are actually using documents and information every day. So go and talk, have a lot of coffee with people from the business to understand what data and what information they are actually using. So now you see all of a sudden a technical plate, so to say, overview. So if we know what information is important, we translate it to, okay, how can we find this information? Because there are many ways in Purview, the compliance portal of Microsoft, where you can translate the information to a technical pattern to find that information. So we call those sensitive information types. We can make them. And we have many ways how to configure those. I will also show how we can do it. If we know how to find that information within our environment, we can classify it with sensitivity labels. And based on those sensitivity labels, you will set scenarios of, okay, if there is a label secret, what do I want that people can and cannot do if a document is labeled, for example, with secret? So people cannot download the document anymore. It cannot be forwarded anymore. But it all starts with this everything within this red line. Make sure that you understand what your sensitive information is and how you can translate it to how to find the information within your organization. So I would like to show you a demo. There are many out-of-the-box sensitive information types already within the Microsoft Purview environment. And I will also show you how to make a custom sensitive information type. So this is the Purview portal. Maybe you know it, maybe not. Definitely have a look at it if you have the right rules for it. And I will show you how you can look for these sensitive information types. You go to information protection. And under classifiers, you can find sensitive information types. Within here, there are many out-of-the-box sensitive information types already. And what I am looking for over here is the driver's license And you can already see there are many driver's licenses over here. So you have the UK driver's license, the French driver's license. These are out of the box available for you. You can select these and have a look in your own data set of your company, of your tenants, where you can actually find this information, where it is located, where it is saved, what the activity is, when it is sent to an external or when it is sent internal. So I have the EU driver's license number over here, which is available out of the box. But of course, I myself have a Netherlands driver's license number. So I can select that one and have a look where I can find this information. Later on, I will show you how it looks like if you want to know, okay, what is the activity of this sensitive information type? Many possibilities in the out of the box. Interesting to make a sensitive information type yourself, because there are 300 plus out of the box available, but we have to say that it's really easy to get 300 plus if you have an EU driver's license, you have a Netherlands driver's license, you have a Swedish driver's license. So then it's really easy, right? If you have from all the countries of the world a driver's license number and also a social security number, then you can go quickly to 300 plus. So most often you have to make a custom sensitive information type as well. So I was looking for a number plate of Dutch cars, and I was looking at the out of the box sensitive information types, and it was not there. So I had to create a custom sensitive information type to be able to look into the environment. Okay, are there any Dutch license plates saved within our environment? So to create a custom sensitive info type, I again go to information protection. I go to classifiers again, sensitive info type, but instead of looking, I click on create sensitive information type. It can take a while, right? We all know that loading could take some time sometimes. Over here, I say that I want a license plate of Dutch cars. And I do a description in there that it's about a Dutch license plate. And then I can click on next. Over here, you can create a pattern. And you can base that on a regular expression, a keyword dictionary, or other functions. Actually, for a Dutch license plate, there's always this pattern. We have numbers, we have dashes, we have letters. So the regular expression is great for this sensitive information type. So I select a regular expression. I give it a name. Again, a Dutch license plate. And over here, I have to give the regular expression. Well, Copilot is really handy for this because it could be quite difficult to make a regular expression yourself. So I asked Copilot, okay, could you make one long regular expression of all the possibilities how you can find a Dutch license plate? I test it at regex101.com, and it says that there are matches, so it is actually working. And there we are, the regular expression is in the system. So we have the regular expression in there, and we also have the so-called supporting elements we can give this custom sensitive information type. So to understand this is to have more the confidence that there are actually positives, that the positives are positive and not that they are not false positives. So I will show you over here. I create a supporting element within 50 characters, and as the supporting element, I choose words. So, for example, if it says, oh, now was a bit quick. If there is like the words license plates 50 characters before the actual pattern, then I am more sure that it is actually a positive and it is not a false positive. So you can have like different words that are supporting that give you more an overview and the confidence of, oh, okay, actually this is something I can rely on. So it is good to know that you can actually test if your custom sensitive information type is working. If you go again to information protection, sensitive information type, you can look up for the custom sensitive information type you just created. So I created this one, I click on test, and I can upload a file. So to show you the difference, I have two files over here. In both files, you see, just 1 second back, you see that I have the number of the license plates. And on the left one, it is a little bit covered by the other document, but it says a bit showing the supporting element. And I made a difference in confidence level. So if it says the license plate and then the actual number, the confidence level is high. And if I only have the license number without the supporting elements, I rated it as a confidence level of medium. So these are the documents I use for testing. I can upload the file. It says yellow camper van with supporting elements. And there it goes. It says that there actually is a high unique match, which is valid because I configured it that way. I also have the one without the supporting elements. And over here, we see that there isn't a high match because the supporting element is not there. So first step, done. We can continue our road trip. So the second one is defining the rules. So if I go on a trip, everyone has its own role. So whether it is driving, navigating, doing the dishes, also really important to define that rule beforehand. You really have to set those rules just to make sure that everyone is on the same page and it's clear what you are going to do. And it's the same with data security. You have to make sure that you know who is responsible for what, where can we locate our sensitive information, which set of rules we would like to set for sharing sensitive information. So we do not want to enforce that it's not possible to share SSN numbers, for instance, but we want to give a policy tip. So make sure you know with one another, okay, what do we want to do? Who is responsible for what? I will skip this because I see that I run out of time. I have so much to tell, but just quickly, within your Copilot license, you also have access to SharePoint Advanced Management, and this shows you how many anyone links are being shared. This is really good to know because then you know where oversharing could potentially happen for which information. So we continue to step 3, packing your stuff, the configuration part, and securing. So if I go on my trip, I know where I place everything, right? Where I can find the keys, where we keep the foods. If you travel with a camper van or a caravan or whatsoever, you know that if you only have a small place to live, that you need those rules and you need to pack your stuff very you have to pack stuff on the places you decided where to, because otherwise it will be a mess in only a few days or a few hours. With packing your stuff in the organization with classifying data, you make sure that all the rules are being set and that you are ready to go for the pilot. With the configuration, you go to the labels. So the classification part, we already know the sensitive information and how we can make custom sensitive information types and use out-of-the-box sensitive information types. And then you are ready to classify it. So I do think this is really small, but what can be seen over here in this table is that I have the different label names, the descriptions, examples, which are really relevant to understand, okay, which information should be classified as what, and also the actions. And those actions are based on your rules that you've set with one another, okay, where to place the keys, where to place the food, etc. And those actions are linked with the different labels. So for example, if you have a confidential label for internal and external people, it is always encrypted, there's content marking, and a policy tip is being configured for when oversharing or sharing sensitive information is happening. So it's really good to have such an overview for yourself for which labels do I have, what is the description, what are the examples, and also what are the actions. What is really interesting is that you can set permissions on the label. So you can decide, okay, are there any view rights, for example, for a secret label? Can people print information? Are people allowed to edit? It is good to know that when a sensitivity label is applied and there's encryption on it, the user must have extract rights and view rights if it wants to be used by Copilot. So if you have a prompt and you do not have the extract or the view right, the Copilot will not give the output of the information that is within the document. So extract and view is needed if you want to the information to be showed up when you prompt in AI for the information. So step 4, monitoring in audit mode. Monitoring is really important. So if I go on a trip and I don't keep an eye on the process, if everything is going as planned, if we have to replan part of our trips because the sun is shining elsewhere, then I might run into a raining area, an area full of rain. So you have to keep track on where your sensitive information is, and to understand the impact for the users. So we have the Content Explorer for static data to understand, okay, where is information located? And we have the Activity Explorer for the activity of the information, of the sensitive information that you configured yourself. We use data loss prevention policies to track the activity of information. And I will show you how that is looks like. So first of all, the Content Explorer, so that is for static data. That is just standing still, so to say. If you go to Information Protection, Content Explorer, you can find all those different sensitive information types over here. And it shows you how many items are in a different workload. So for example, in Exchange, we see that the National Citizen Service number is in SharePoint for how many times? Let's see, there are 3, 4, 5, 6 hits in there. So it shows you where the information is. Well, over here it says that it's an HR document, so it makes sense, right, that it's over there. Next up is the Activity Explorer, and the Activity Explorer tells us more about how the information is flowing inside the organization and also outside the organization. So over here we see that the label is applied. We also see that there's an email that is sent to another colleague via Exchange, so via the mail. And we have many filters to filter, for example, on a specific sensitive information type to give you more insight. We can filter on activity, the location, even users, sensitivity labels. So it gives us really an idea of, okay, what is the activity of all the sensitive information and the labels within our organization. Good to know is that you can only see it for 30 days. So after 30 days, the information, you can only see it for 30 days. So keep an eye on it. If you want to see it of 60 days ago, a computer says no. You can do a workaround, but keep an eye on the activities. So let's continue. Step 5. We're almost there. But of course, if you configure something, you're not like setting it live for the whole company, right? You do a pilot with your key users. And it sounds really like something that everyone would do, but still, it happens that we see that things are going live, which shouldn't go live already. So if you have your pilot, it's really useful to track also, okay, how are people using labels and sensitive information? And we can see that in the Activity Explorer I just showed. So, for example, you see in here that there are changes in labels. And if you change a label, you can configure that someone needs to give a justification for why a label is changed. And it gives you an idea about, okay, but why is the label changed? Was someone not able to just like do the process he normally does? Was he or she blocked? Is it should we like fine tune our policies, or should we give more training to our end users? So if we click on those lines, we see more information about the label change. For example, we see over here that the label is downgraded, so there are less restrictions, and we can see what the old label was over here and what the new label is. So this is really insightful to understand also what is actually happening, and it is a conversation starter with your user. After your pilots, after your fine-tuning, you want to go live, but there's some adoption and awareness raising you still have to do. And good to keep in mind is that you have several people within your organization, and not everyone wants to do this labeling projects process with you. So we have, for example, Anne from asset management that wants to be productive and don't want to click, and especially not if she doesn't understand why we should do it. We have Simon that never wants to change anyway. Of course, we also have that eager person within our organization, right? The innovator that actually think it's nice to have the new functionalities and how he or she can use it. And we have people that are almost retired and don't really understand, okay, but what should I do, and become insecure. And for all those different people, you have to make sure that you give a training, that you give tools that they understand why they should use the labeling and the tools, but also how. And if it doesn't work as expected, who they can reach out to. So really keep that personas in your mind, and make sure that you treat them, all of them on their own. So everyone will actually use labels, because otherwise it's a really expensive project and it won't give you the benefits of it and the security on your information. What is really helpful is that you can use headers, footers, and watermarks, and policy tips for your users. That's really useful for the adoption as well. For example, if you have a highly confidential label, you could say, okay, the header should be classified as highly confidential. then it makes more sense, right, for the end user that you cannot share this information with someone that isn't authenticated of a third party, for example. So it gives people, end users, hints of, okay, what is actually happening on the end and on the back end. You can decide yourself what the description is. So customize it as you would like to customize. We're almost there, people. Step 7, evaluate, adjust, embed within the existing organization. So at the end of my road trip with my partner, I evaluate, was it fun? Do we want to go on a trip together next year as well? Or should I go on a trip myself? So we evaluate what we liked about our trip and where we want to go next year. But it's the same for data security measures. You have to evaluate, okay, what is working, what isn't working? How can we make sure that people are going to use it even more and that it's actually people understood our what is happening behind the label, so they are actually using them to secure data. And really important, how do you make sure that this process is actually embedded within your organization? It's not a one-time project, so sensitive information can emerge over time. So what is sensitive information what is sensitive information at this point in time could be different in a few years, or in a few years a new type of information pops up, and that could also be relevant to configure and to track. So you have to make sure that you still understand, okay, what is happening within my organization, and are my policies still relevant, or do we need to tweak those? And then we are there. I don't know if you can hear the computer clapping. I had this sound special effect in there. We're finished. And one more thing that I would like to also give to you is that you can also use Power Automate to help you with following up within your organization. So, for example, when a rule is violated, you can send a manager an email, hey, be aware, one of your teammates violated one of the rules that we set, like, for example, we cannot share social security numbers. And that can also help to start the conversation again. Okay, why is this happening? How can we help you? Is it actually okay that you've sent this information? Or should we make sure that we understand that it's not okay to share that information with a person internal or external? So quickly, I go through the issues along the way, and I note that we only have 3 minutes left, so I rush through them quickly. So first of all, exploration of sensitive data takes time, and make sure that you take the time for it. Don't rush through it like I'm rushing through the last minutes now. That could be one of the mistakes you're making, that you go over that first step too quickly, and then you will be pushed back later in time. Also, a lack of collaboration between IT and the business. If you don't have those cups of coffee with people in the business, you don't understand their process, their sensitive information, and you will eventually have your policies, but it doesn't really fit the processes within your organization. So you really have to make sure that there is this collaboration between IT and the business. A lack of clear governance and ownership. Yeah, who is the owner of the data sets? Also really important, because otherwise we say, oh, but that person is important for it and also for the labeling part of it. Oh, but he or she doesn't feel that ownership. So it's really important to also have clear who is responsible for what. So make sure that the governance is clear. Insufficient monitoring and feedback mechanism. Yeah, if you set up your data security and you do not monitor it and have this feedback mechanism, yeah, eventually you have everything in place. But again, it doesn't really fit your organization. Your organization is evolving, so also your data security is evolving. And last but not least, the user resistant to new processes. And this is part of this of data security, but of course we have it all on all those different topics when an end user is part of it. So quick key takeaways. Copilot, yes, we like it. We want to be productive, but do understand the risks and make sure you start with implementing data security, or at least know where your sensitive information in your organization is and what the activity is within your organization and outside of your organization. Take those measurements. Also, don't determine what sensitive information is for the organization on your own. Again, drink those cups of coffee, go into those meetings, make sure you really understand. And it's not a one-time implementation, but an ongoing process. Start small with both Copilot and data security and make sure you evolve over time. So yeah, Microsoft 365 Copilot is your data's best friend or worst nightmare. Yeah, well, eventually it's in the middle, right? It is your data's best friend, but there are risks involved as well. So use it, but responsibly. So yeah, that's the end. I hope that you enjoyed this trip. Feel free to link with me on LinkedIn, Justine Wolters. And if you have any questions, you feel free to reach out to me. 1 minute over time. I don't see questions in the comments section myself. I don't know if you see anything.
Hey, there we are. Really nice. Well done. Thank you so much, Justine. There are no questions at all. So I think it was super clear. A 10 for the inspiration talk and your personal story around it. I really like that. So thanks for sharing.
It's my favorite session to do, but I'm very passionate about also my camp event.
I love it. I love it.
Passion is back into the session.
Yeah, much more people can do like this personal touch in their presentation. I really like it. Thank you so much. We have some really great comments from people. So find out people who say thanks, people who enjoyed it, but not really questions. So thank you so much for being here. And next month we will have a new meetup again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes. Bye bye. See ya.
Bye.